This is the Willpower Podcast, live at APTA CSM. We're here with physical therapy leaders and practice owners from across the country talking about where the industry is going and what it takes to grow in today's landscape. Today I'm joined by Michael Viscuso and Sam DiRosa, CEO and Clinical Director at Metro Physical Therapy, discussing how intentional leadership development, from new grads all the way to seasoned owners, is the key to building a culture where people thrive and patients get better care. Let's get into it. Mike and Sam, I am so excited to have you here on the Willpower Podcast. Thanks for taking a break at CSM from your booth to come over and join me.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk about leadership. We wanted to talk about how we can support new grads, as well as experienced therapists and people who are even owners in the industry. How can they develop their leadership? So you guys have this experience as leaders in the industry. You're here at CSM. You're spreading that. Where do you think, if you're a student listening to this, where do they begin becoming better leaders?
Learning, I think, leadership is something that you need to practice every single day. And I think you don't get that a lot in school. It's very didactic, information in school. So I think, you just have to continue to learn.
And I think that you have to invest in yourself too, to take it a step further.
Yeah. What does that look like at a student level, do you think, Sam?
I think going to, your extra help classes or staying after and doing, extra help with your professors, taking the time to do that one-on-one time with them, going to outside events and investing in those things are going to help take it to that next.
Like CSM.
Like CSM. Absolutely.
I think it's connecting with people. For sure.
Yeah. Talk to me about that, Mike. Why is connecting with people such a vital part of leadership development?
I think you could pick a lot of people's brains. The biggest thing that I always teach and what I try to do is ask a lot of questions, and soak everything up, and as much information is power.
It's interesting how we're talking about effort. Like both of you mentioned this, the leadership is developed through additional effort. And maybe that's a distinction worth noting, is that the people who are leaders of people are those who spend extra time being curious and asking questions, spending time going to events where they can learn and grow. And so when we talk about leadership progression, I think a lot of people hear this initially as like, well, what does that even mean? But what you're talking about is knowledge, Mike, right? Knowledge is power. And so what would that mean as a company that hires? Why is that more attractive to find someone who is making those additional efforts as a potential hire?
Yeah, I think we invest. So our why on what we do is really that we take care of our people, because at the end of the day, our people take care of the patients. So we want to invest in our people because we know that we'll give really good quality care.
Yeah. I used to have a handful of locations, and it was funny how I would provide opportunities to develop leadership that was always extra. But some people gravitated towards it, which, by the way, meant later they made more money and rose through the ranks, which we're going to talk about Sam here in a little bit. But ultimately, there was a choice for them to be like, yeah, do I really want to spend extra time, or am I going to just punch the clock and go home? And so for you guys, as you're going through that journey, as you're looking at students to potentially hire, how do you determine which students stand out? Like, how do you measure leadership when you're in that interviewing process and recruiting process?
Similar. Just asking a lot of questions. And leadership questions, not just clinical side. So I think the therapists that stand out the most are the ones that are constantly asking questions, and really wanting to be stronger and better and having that growth mindset.
Interesting, Mike. I never thought of it like you can see the leadership in the interview by the interest they take in the interviewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so amazing. All right. So that's maybe how they get started at that level. Now let's talk about experienced PTs. Maybe someone's out there. Maybe they're stuck in a bad job. Maybe they're feeling burned out. How do you advise someone who's already burning out to make additional effort to develop their leadership? Like, what does leadership development look for people in that situation? What do you think, Sam?
You want me to take it or?
So, I think I'm experiencing this for a little bit where I have a very experienced staff member in my clinic, but I think it depends on their goals and their vision. And, again, investing in your staff and what matters to them. How can you rise them up and bring them to the next level and bring them to their next goal?
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Mike?
I think a lot of times, especially in the PT world, especially in outpatient, it's a lot. There's a lot. You get a lot of patients that are complaining. And I think sometimes you get jaded. And I think just taking a step back from a bird's eye view to just say, all right, I did this for a reason, and kind of, again, reinvesting in yourself, to figure out more of your goals. I think it initiates more motivation.
It's cool. Both of you mentioned this thing called goals. So in that place of burnout, leadership development almost looks more like reconnecting to center.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because there are additional efforts that have to be made, like we've all determined, but I love that idea that you both mentioned of like reconnecting to like what the big end in mind is. And what you said, Mike, that I loved is the purpose of it. Why did I get into this in the first place? If I'm burning out, leadership looks like reconnection with purpose and reestablishment of goals. And maybe there's like some realizations that where I'm working right now isn't the best for me long term. So as you guys are in that place of working with existing team members and you retain and have such a strong culture, what do you guys think you do within your company at Metro, for example, to help develop leadership?
Yeah. A lot. So we do a lot of engagement, to empower. We do a lot of empowerment. We have multiple leadership programs we call, NextGen, which is young leaders who just want to do, it's a platform where they can talk about leadership. And then we have a Ascend program, which is for emerging leaders that the clinical directors, regional directors that we have identify certain people who want to become clinical directors. So there's a lot of leadership topics that we speak about. We actually have a library in each one of our clinics with multiple books, from Simon Sinek to Maxwell and,
what's interesting? Cultures are different in every company I've met, but successful companies have really good cultures that are almost always centered on similar books. So even though your culture, I guarantee, is different than other great companies out there, that your tribe is going to take those same books with your instruction and it'll be a different flavor of ice cream. Yeah. It's really cool. Any other big books you want to mention that you guys love in your library? Just out of curiosity.
The Energy Bus.
Yeah.
I think is a good one.
I've read that one. Love it.
That was a good one.
Great.
Sam, was there any book you like?
Start With Why always kind of stuck with me.
That's a foundational.
That was a foundational, I think that brought me to a next level, and it goes back to that purpose, and that always stuck with me. So that was one of my favorites.
It's neat how this discussion keeps combining purpose with leadership,
yeah,
with goals. These things evolve over time. So rockstar students, whatever, Start With Why. If you don't know where to begin, that's a really great book to begin with in developing a personal purpose in vision and leadership. So, Sam, you've been through these leadership programs at Metro.
Oh, yeah.
So did you start as a new grad?
I did.
Okay. So walk me through as a case study of what that's like to work at a company that's developing you as a leader.
So I was actually a student with Metro first.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the company and the culture.
Why?
It embodied everything that I also envisioned for myself. It showed me that they had mentorship. It showed me that they had leadership opportunities and that they did invest in their people. And that meant a lot to me. I'm a passionate PT. I'm passionate as just a person, and I can see that they invested in their people, and I appreciated that. So I knew as, a new grad, this is where I wanted to work. And they've invested in me since. So they take the time for new grads to give you a platform to learn and to give you a choice. Do you want to become a leader in the company?
So it's not forced upon you, because I see that a lot in companies where it's like, we're growing, we need you to be a leader. And they're like, I guess I'll do that. If it's more like they're getting dumped on, you had a choice.
You have a choice in Metro, like everybody does, not just me. You can go clin ed route. You can go leadership route. You can be a staff PT and love what you do and just rock with that.
So you chose the leadership route. Let's get technical. What did that training, because you're a clinical director now.
Yes.
So what did that path look like for you? What were the names of the programs, and just examples of what that training?
So it's been pretty cool. I've gotten to see, Metro evolve over time and see these programs develop. I think I was one of the first leadership tracks, and there was 2 leadership days, where Mike was there. He gave some really inspiring lectures. They have people to come in and talk to us, motivational speakers. We would go over those books that, you know, we have the Metro libraries and we would go through those. And you would go into an assistant director route and be underneath the clinical director, helping them run the clinic. And what's really cool, I think, in that position is every clinic is different in Metro. It's all run differently. The culture in each clinic is different.
A little bit off, not off, actually a little bit unique, while you still have a thread that keeps the culture similar.
Absolutely. And you get to work side by side with your clinical director and kind of treat it as your playground. And you get to kind of test the waters of like, what is this like to be a clinical director, but still fall back on somebody to help you out and show you the ropes. So, you know, you go that route, you get into assistant director, and then you quickly become, you know, clinical director. On to the next.
Yeah. And what's really amazing is when you see people really elevate themselves. And it's been really cool to watch Sam really continue to grow. We just kicked off our Ascend program a couple weeks ago, and I got feedback from who she's going to be a clinical director in one of our new de novo sites. And she said no other company will have the VP of operations and the CEO here teaching about leadership. And that's what makes Metro super special.
So guys, Rockstars, as you're hearing this, come some key points that Mike and Sam are going over I want to highlight for you. This is a lot for the business owners out there. The importance of naming the program. Listen to how they were just mentioning these company programs by name as if I knew what they were, but they were talking about them from a product creation. So when we create these leadership programs, it's important to give each little program its own brand, its own like purpose, its own product. Because when we are explaining those to people and we show how it actually impacts them, then we get the results like Mike said. And I could sense that you really appreciated seeing Sam grow. How much did that mean to you personally to see her develop?
A lot, to be honest. We spent, you know, this entire CSM speaking about it, actually. It's been really cool to see. I've seen, you know, I always say it too, as every regional director, every clinical director, it's almost like you want branches of leaves, you know, and I feel like it's been really cool to see multiple people within the organization continue to grow.
Yeah. So what does that mean to you, Sam, to have someone outside of you care about your growth?
It's so cool. It is so cool to be sitting here with Mike on a podcast at CSM and see my personal growth, but to see how much like he cares and has invested in me and brought me to a level that I didn't even know was possible for myself, but he did.
What would it have been like for a younger version of you as a student to see you where you are right now?
Oh, I would idolize both me and Mike. I like
you want to be her because you are her, and then Mike is so great. Yeah,
so cool.
I try.
Yeah.
But we do. I think it's the growth mindset, that we instill in, you know, within the culture of the company, including myself. I mean, you just want to be a better version of yourself every single day, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like every company has its challenges. Every company has its obstacles and its frustrations. But when you get culture right, when you get leadership first and as a concept and as a core value of a company, it's amazing how everything can scale and you don't struggle with the same problems and issues that other companies do. Because a lot of companies, most of them who wouldn't be here at CSM, they're in a position mentally where they're just scarcity. They're like, I need a hire. I'm desperate for a hire. How am I going to get the next hire? That's not how you guys operate. You're looking to find the right tribe fit. You're looking to find those people that you can curate and grow and scale. And you have people who are, you're not struggling with recruiting. You're just adding to an already existing expanding team. And you just said some good news on Monday, right, Mike? Yeah,
that we opened up two locations. So it was, our 62nd location that we opened up.
Amazing. And how long have you been with the company, Mike?
Since 2018.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I've been a PT since 2011 and I came on to Metro 2018. It's been amazing.
So I would like to, what would you think for business owners now? We've talked about the whole journey, right? Students, existing PTs who are burning out, leadership development. What about owners? What advice would you give company owners that are like your 1 to 2 locations that are really struggling? They're feeling the burnout. They don't know how to hire. They don't know how to develop a brand, or might be a new concept, developing a formalized leadership development program. What experience or what advice would you give to them in terms of how to develop their leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, anybody who has opened up a practice, I truly value. I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing that they've done that. The advice I would give is, and something that Michael it's an empowering others. You can't do everything yourself. And I think what he's done such a great job is having the right people in the right seats of the bus, but then really empowering them to make the decisions.
How does he empower people? I think people are listening to this are like, yeah, that makes sense. How does that look? What does that look like to empower people? It's very emotional, but tactically, what does that look like in real terms?
Yeah, I think it's, strong on the process, not on the people, or not on the result, and empower people to get you the result that you're looking for, but clear expectations around.
So he sets clear expectations and develops defined processes and encourages people just to stick to that process until they can find out how to create that result.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You said it better than me.
Yeah.
Well, it's my job just to say things back. I heard it's what you said. Sam, any thoughts on your end?
I would say it's really cool that Michael, our CEO, is still involved in the company. We just opened our 60-second office, but he is still so involved and in every single clinic that when he comes into the clinic, all the new grads are like, oh my God, Michael is great. It's so cool that he's at the Ascend, leadership days, or he comes into the clinic and it says hi, like he's a human being.
He's kept that connection level very high despite his activities being a little bit more needed off site. So he's made that connection as a priority. So I love that combination. I love what Mike's saying with that whole use of process and recognizing that mindset that you can't do it yourself and you have to trust people and empower them to do so, combined with, and you keep it human and real.
Yeah.
And that seems like really good advice for owners. And the last thing I would throw in there, as a previous owner myself, my world shifted, Rockstars, when I started really focusing on a network of other owners. Working with people like Metro, other companies who are further along in the process is the key of building your network, which is how you build your net worth. Being with people who figure out the problems is so much better than trying to figure them out yourself. And it makes the journey a whole lot more worthwhile, because like in your case, what you've created is a culture of belonging where people really feel like they're home. And I think at the end of the day, home might feel different in different homes. So it's not someone who might feel at home here may not feel at home at another great company out there. But the point is to have the home built on values. So guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Willpower podcast. If people wanted to learn more about leadership, your leadership program, or even if they wanted to come work for you, how would they get a hold of you guys?
Yeah. metropt.com, is our website. We have Instagram, LinkedIn, all social media.
And I'll put everything in the links below, including anything else you want. So if you have any personal social media you'd like to promote, rapid fire, last questions. You ready? I like to end with rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Okay. What is the one aspect of your company's leadership program that you like the most? It could be a book. It could be a course. It could be a person.
Great question. I think listening to people, we adapt and we continue to grow our company, Metro, by the people. So if there's something that needs to be changed, we listen to what is needed.
Love that. What about you, Sam?
I honestly would say, going off of Mike, they do listen. They take our feedback and they run with it, and they'll make the changes and adapt to what we have to say. I would say, we have CD calls every month, a clinical director meeting once a month, and we get to talk to each other and rely on each other.
So they built that community for CDs.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay. Somewhere in the world that you've been that you love, or somewhere you're excited to go?
Oh, I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so I don't travel much at this point. I want to go to Napa Valley for sure.
Okay.
Good one.
Napa Valley. What about you, Sam?
I would love to go to Italy. Just went to Aruba, my new favorite place.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. A book, a podcast, a movie, a band you've listened to. What's a piece of entertainment that you've consumed recently that you enjoyed?
So just for pleasure,
either pleasure,
Top Gun. I'm a big Top Gun fan.
Top Gun Maverick.
So both. Okay. So it was a solid number 2 movie for sure.
Sure.
But the original was by far the best. And then I'm reading, what am I reading? It's, The Psychology of Money, I think.
Love it.
Is what I'm reading at this.
Okay.
Love it. What about you, Sam?
I love to read, but my reading, I definitely try to escape. I'm like, give me a thriller.
Okay, so what's a good book you read recently?
It's actually called The Perfect Marriage. It's a good book.
Is it like a murder mystery?
It is murder mystery.
Man.
Yeah.
The Perfect Marriage is such a setup for like someone's getting killed.
Oh yeah. That's right. You gotta.
The
gotta
perfect
read
marriage until they're killed.
it. Yep.
Okay. So this last one is a little bit more thoughtful. It's never lost on me that how these recordings are out there forever. And there's people, there's a lot of people who will watch this, but your own descendants will see this one day. This question is for you, my friend, Mike. Your kids are going to grow up and see this and see you at this stage of life. What do you want them to know about what drives you?
Yeah. Grit, determination, and just be, so the one feedback unfortunately I lost my stepdad, 4 years ago, which was really tough on me. Thank you. But he would always talk about perseverance and grit. So the one thing I want my son to always have is to be involved be present in every moment and just to work your butt off.
I love that answer. All right, Sam, slightly different question. Who is someone in your family that has really positively impacted you, whether it's a parent, grandparent, sibling?
Oh, my parents, both of them. I love them dearly. I could probably get emotional talking about them. They both have such a great work ethic. Mike's met my mom literally in Kohl's.
I did.
They're both my idols. I love them. I could chat about them forever. If we want to have another podcast, you let me know.
That sounds, as a parent, I got to tell you, that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever get to see, is the rarity when you have someone say, I love both my parents. They're my greatest champions.
Yeah, they really are.
And they're proud of you.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sounds like you are too, Mike, honestly.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I really can't thank you enough for taking this time to help educate our audience on leadership and development. It's been such a treat. Thanks again for being a part of our show today.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for having us.
Okay. Well, Willpower Podcast audience, rock stars, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode on leadership. I'm so grateful that we were able to take a time and really understand this thing called leadership. What we learned in recap is the ability for us to go deep within and understand our purpose, set goals that pull us through those times where maybe we're burned out, and to recognize that it takes a village to have people who believe in us so that we can tap into untapped potential within ourselves. Thank you again for tuning in as always. And remember to lead with love and never give up. Until next time.